For over a century, motorsports has been about going faster than the guy next to you. But in Gridlife's Time Attack Challenge, it's all about going fast for one lap. We're racing here at Road America, the National Park of Speed, Greg. This is a 4-mile, 14-turn racetrack, one of the classic American road courses. And there's so many fits here this weekend, Greg, it's hard to keep up. So he is up there in the mix now, with a 301.865 right behind the Hard Times Racing fit. So still a 10th between those two. In Sundae Cup right now, the leader is the Hard Times Racing Honda fit.
And look at the times. You got the 411 of Hard Times Racing at a 301.79, the 395 of Mike Smith in a fit, both fits at a 301.8.
Flag right here.
I think it's your under tray, bro. I think it's trying to come off when you got any kind of speed.
Yeah, and then you had Kyle pretty much dominate pretty much the whole weekend, right?
Yeah, and then Michael Ross jumped in there.
Old curb straddling subframe scraping Ross comes bouncing through.
And is a second off of his best. So it is still the Hard Times Racing fit out front in Sundae Cup, but I can't wait for this last time attack session. That's going to be a battle to watch. Back live here at Road America for the last time attack session of 2021. Kyle Heyer joined by Greg Creamer for one more go in time attack, this time with Group C. Greg, welcome back, and this time we're going to watch the fits go for battle.
Yeah, they're having fits out there, and it's absolutely fantastic. The championship battle is really close in that category. It's difficult for us to really track it because there are drops that are factored in, and it's all going to be after the event is done. But there's a pretty good championship, and a number of the contenders in there are out here right now. But to me, the bigger story is what's going on for the battle here for the weekend. And in that number 411 is Kyle Carstens. It's listed as Hard Times Racing, a 301.78 best time, and the 395 of Michael Smith. Both of these guys are in the top 5 of that championship battle. Michael Smith at a 3:05.7. Sorry, guys.
301.865.
301.86. So it's literally a 1/10 of a second separating those two for fast time here. And we've already seen this track right now is really quick at this stage. Then there's a little bit of a gap, but then the battle behind them is really good between James Morgan, Adam Jabay, who's making his debut in this class here this weekend and having a really good run. Peter Lindbergh, Rory Lonergan, all really, really close.
I'm supposed to be impartial, but I really would like to see Adam podium in Sundae Cup because I think it'd be great for him to give the trophy to himself.
Yeah, just to see that awkward moment.
All right, so cars on track now. Go ahead.
Puppet Adam could have worked.
Puppet Adam, that's a fantastic idea. If you haven't seen that, you should head to the Gridlife official Instagram and Facebook to see the joke around the Jababy, as Chris Stewart calls him, the Japuppet. So cars on track now for Time Attack Group C, the last sessions of the day and the year for our track battle championships. Again, there's the Fitz and Mike Mills in a Ford Fiesta. That's the blue car. He's got the front bumper all taped up, probably to keep it on and keep it there from getting in it and ripping it off. But Mike Mills out there having some fun, but again, it's the Hard Times Racing 411 that is leading ahead of Michael Smith by 1/10 of a second. And there's that Hard Times Racing fit with the very easy to spot decals on the side right behind him. The silver fit trying to run him down. And down the hill towards turn 3. It is I would love it to get, it would be amazing to get a speed trap on the fits.
Yes.
So let's get a speed trap on the fits here as Adam Jabay runs a little wide at the exit of 1. I think that'd be fantastic. Remember, 183 was the quickest we've seen. And this might be the slowest, fastest car we've seen.
Exactly. And what I think would be interesting is to get one that is running by itself and then get one running in a draft.
Yep.
And see what kind of improvement you might see there.
Well, about 100 miles an hour. 103 for the Hard Times Racing fit.
That's not bad.
That's not bad. You're triple digits.
Actually. Yeah.
You don't really slow down all that much either. One of the great things about these cars, Greg, is that not only are they approachable as to drive, but also, you talk about the low cost to purchase and acquire, but also the low cost of maintenance. They don't really go through brakes, all the consumables. They're not going to eat brakes very much. It's not going to be significant in any way there as the Hard Times Racing fit pulls off to the side and pulls through the silver fit, which I couldn't get a look at the number, but that may be one of the cars that's trying to run him down.
But, the interesting thing about this classic car is a great training class, because when you are in a car that by design is a little underpowered, doesn't have a lot of tire on it, the whole thing is be smooth and flow speed, momentum, carry speed through a corner, because these cars, you don't have that big horsepower grunt to get out of the corner, drop the hammer, and accelerate. So if you're going to be fast in these cars, you need to exit the corners as quick as you possibly can, which means being really efficient through the corner and flowing speed. Well, guess what? If you learn that technique, now you can jump into a car 200, 300, 1,000 horsepower. If everybody else around you has similar horsepower and you can roll a few more mile an hour through the apex, you're going to be quicker.
Well, I think
it all starts here.
Right. The important thing to remember is that regardless of whether your car has 1,000 horsepower or 100, the dynamics of a car are still the same. And carrying momentum is still advantageous. You can cover mistakes more easily with power. But if you are able to roll speed through the corners better than everybody else, you're going to catch everyone else's mistakes, which is crucial.
Yep. I mean, a similar class, it's in SCCA, it's called Spec Racer Ford, which is underpowered, undertired, and the whole concept there is everything spec, it's on the driver. And Dorsey Schrader, when he got out of SCCA club racing, his first thing he did was get into back in the day, the Pro Spec Racer Ford series. When he left that, he went and did a test, got a Trans Am ride, won the Trans Am championship as a rookie. And when people talked to him about it, he said it's all due to my time in those Spec Racer Fords, because I learned how to flow speed and I could get through and out of corners a little quicker than everybody around me with similar power, and that gave me the edge.
So Michael Smith comes on through in Sundae Cup and runs a 3:01.876, which is not quite quick enough to improve on his earlier time. And I also have to make a correction earlier about a driver in the previous session. At the top of the board, it was Devin Hoffman. She had a very phenomenal round and got to the top of the board. So congratulations to Devin there. As the 777, Dewey's BRZ jumps to a 2:45.095. And trying to see how fast that car has gone this weekend. It was a 2:44.429, so about 0.6 of a second off.
And you were talking about Smith, and that last lap, he was less than 100th behind his best time, and so really still just that 10th off of what the number 411 Hard Times entry was doing. This car right here, so this battle is definitely on.
Well, I think the other thing to consider is that Michael Smith was in a draft behind the 411 fit, and then I think the Hard Times car pulled out of the way, maybe realizing that he was helping his competitor. But now the 395 is all on his own, so he'll be responsible entirely for his pace on this lap. And that's part of the game.
Yeah, absolutely it is. When you have any car that is a little down on power on a track that's got lots of long, fast sections, draft. Get in the tow. Two cars running together are quicker than one running by itself, as long as there's cooperation between those drivers. If the guy behind you pulls out, to make the pass, you don't want to fight him. You want to let him go, tuck in behind him, and then with the understanding that you were kind enough to do that, you would expect him to then do that for you, and you just literally help pull each other around that track just a little bit quicker than you could running alone.
And the other great thing about drafting in fits is that when you get to the corner, you don't really have any aero to speak of, so you're not going to suffer the ill effects of aero wash, as we call it.
Exactly. Yep. You don't lose downforce on the nose. You can run right up behind somebody, and if you really don't quite grasp what we're talking about, when a car is driving along at speed, it punches a hole in the air, and before that air, after it gets punched and disperses before it can close up, there's an area of kind of low pressure in there where if you get in behind it, now the two of you can actually run quicker. If you've ever been in a small car and you get stuck behind a semi at speed and you get a little too close, and suddenly you find that car accelerates, because it's real buffety for a while, right? And then suddenly it gets really calm and you start to gain speed. That's you're feeling the effect of that toe. Well, you can use that in racing to help you find speed that the car running by itself otherwise wouldn't have.
So Michael Smith did not improve on that lap around. The Hard Times Racing car improved this session, but not overall on the lap charts. Adam Jabay just behind James Morgan. There is James Morgan in the fit with the pink tape on it. And there's Adam Jabay in the red Honda fit down into turn one. Big wiggle on entry, carrying the speed. I love watching Adam wheel that with the yellow gloves. Now heading down through turn two and into turn three. Again, so Adam Jabay will have to beat one of his friends to get up onto the podium here this weekend. And that friend is James Morgan, and he's only 400ths off of doing that overall. So he has an opportunity to do it, and he's getting after it now. This might be his last lap, too.
This might well be his last lap. And I think he's found something that is really going to be fun for him, because he's so busy on these weekends as he oversees a lot of what's going on with the Gridlife Touring Cup, that when that is running, he's kind of focused on it. This gives him the opportunity now to get out, because he would try and run in Gridlife Touring Cup, and he was just distracted and scattered and everything with what he's doing. Well, here, one, he doesn't have to do a lot of car prep. You talked about how good and solid these cars are, and that means that for Adam, he can just get out and just drive. And I think he's found a home here.
Well, he cut off the exit at turn 6 to arc in 7 and carry as much speed as possible. This will be a fun battle to watch.
Yeah, well,
I want Adam to get a trophy and hand himself the trophy, so I really want him to get a couple hundreds more and beat James Morgan as much as I love both of those guys. But Adam through turn 8 now and into the carousel. At the front, the 411 Hard Times Racing car was slower this session than Michael Smith, but overall this weekend, the Hard Times Racing fit is still a little faster in Sundae Cup. So the 411 will currently sit at the top of the podium come the celebrations here in under an hour, actually.
The one thing that Adam has to avoid doing is, knowing he's that close, overdriving the car, and then as a result, getting a little sideways, running wide, running longer lines than you need to. That all eats up time. You need to now, to find that extra time in these cars, you need to just be as smooth and precise as possible. And the problem is, in these cars, and it's just a fact, you got 3 sections of this track where you have a lot of time to think and get into your head too much.
That's true, especially in a fit.
Yeah.
You get on the back straightaway, then you settle in for the long nap and break out a book and read through it, and make a rest stop along the way. Then about 3.5 hours later, you make it to turn 5.
You time your lap with a calendar page.
Through turn 14 now, checkered flag is out. This will be Adam Jabay's last opportunity to get a podium in Sundae Cup, climbing the hill. Lord and Savior Adam Jabay up and over the crest. Can he do it? He's got to beat a 3:05.722.
Let's see what he does.
Well, now he's got to beat a 3:04.230 because that's what James Morgan just did.
Wow, that's a lap.
And Jabay will not do it. So James
improved.
Morgan.
he improved a bit, but not enough.
No, James Morgan will solidify a podium here in Sundae Cup. Unbelievable, but Adam, I'm sure he had a blast.
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
So the Sundae Cup podium this weekend is going to go to the 411, the Hard Times Racing fit, followed by Michael Smith in the 395, and James Morgan will be the last step on the podium in Sundae Cup. Well, congratulations to all of our time attackers for completing the 2021 competition season here in Time Attack. Greg, that is it for Time Attack this year. Final thoughts on TA before we take a short break before GLTC.
Yeah, I mean, I think right late in the going there, if I'm reading this right, Michael Smith jumped the number 411 and put up a time.
Oh, did he?
That might just do it here. I'm looking the time that.
Oh,
I have.
he did. 301, 392. So Michael Smith in the final moments. You're right, Greg. He snuck in there and got it.
Yeah, fabulous lap.
Man.
I mean, it was by a chunk. That was 0.4 of an improvement late in the session here. So really well done.
Well, that was under the radar for sure, but he did it.
Yep, great job.
All right. Well, with that switching and swapping of the podium in the Sundae Cup category, that's going to do it for our 2021 Gridlife Time Attack season. If you're watching on the live stream, if you're standing trackside, don't go anywhere. Gridlife Touring Cup is up next in about 20 minutes. We'll be back with you shortly.
Can't wait.
P1? That P1? Yes! Look, yes! The final lap!
Look, they called it over the announcement. They're already like, here's your Sundae Cup thing. And then the other guy was like, no. Michael Smith got it on the last lap. Was your best one. You got him.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Yeah. And then you had Kyle pretty much dominate pretty much the whole weekend, right?
Yeah, and then Michael Ross jumped in there.
Old curb straddling subframe scraping Ross comes bouncing through. He came through like he acted like he didn't have to drive that car back to Virginia, but he pulled it off the last lap. And listening to it on the live stream, it was like, because wasn't Greg Creamer it was Kyle and it was Greg, right?
Right.
Who was commenting.
Yep.
And listening to him, he's like, "Yep." So the positions are pretty much solidified. He's like, "You have Kyle, then Michael, and then me." And he was like, "Oh, actually, never mind." Mike was like, "Mike Ross just put down his fast lap, the last lap." Yeah, there's like people pitting in. Yeah, like pitting in, and then they're like, "Oh, actually, never mind. There goes the whole thing."
Just beating the shit out of that old car, man. That's like that car hasn't seen a lot of love aside from like beating the snot out of it on a racetrack. He drives the daylights out of that thing.